The way I think we should approach generative AI is maybe to ask ourselves a very simple question. What would you do in your job if you had an infinite supply of interns? Today it's interns. Tomorrow it's an infinite supply of undergraduates. And after that, there'll be an infinite supply of trained professionals. I think it expresses a progression about how generative AI will just get better and better over time. The nature of generative AI is that it uses these probabilistic calculations in order to determine whether or not something is or is not, in a sense, a word that belongs to that sentence. And because of that, we need to manage and supervise the generative AI quite carefully. Particularly in the field of compliance, this can be pretty difficult. You may be considering a transaction suspicious. You may be driving a decision to close an account. And because of the consequences, it will be quite necessary still to compare the results of the generative AI and to supervise those results by involving a human being in the decision. Other types of things that I think we do need to consider, for example, data leakage, and perhaps how criminals may exploit generative AI for their own purposes. In DBS, we're looking at very large, voluminous tasks that actually the human being doesn't necessarily like. A very good example of this is filing of a suspicious transaction report. So what we do is we try to put those reports into generative AI to structure it very well. It makes our life easier and nearly 30% more efficient, just in terms of the first deployment that we are looking at.